Bismillah, alhamdulillah. This time you pay attention. As-salatu was-salam ala Rasulillah wa ba'd. Once again, we study the monumental work of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah, as explained by Abu Abdullah Muhammad bin Salih al-Faymain, al-Aqidah al Wasitiyyah, on this day, Khamis, which is Thursday, Laylatul Jummah, the night of Jummah, which is the 13th of Sha'ban, which is the 9th of October 2003, 13th of Sha'ban, 1424 Hijri. We start by saying where we left off regarding the thina, or the compliment to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or when you send peace and prayers upon the Prophet alayhi salam. We explained that in detail. Then he means that when it qurinat bi atba', when it is coupled with the term and his followers, then his al is his family, and his atba'ahu is his followers. فَالْآلْ هُمَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْبَيْتِ. They are his family who believe from Ahl al-Bayt. Whenever you hear the term Ahl al-Bayt, that's the family of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. i.e. Bayt al-Rasul, the family of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wa Shaykh al-Islam rahimahullah, talking about Ibn Taymiyyah, lam yadhkur atba'huna. He didn't mention followers. He says sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman mazidan. So he didn't mention atba'. He said, but he mentioned al, which is family in this respect. In this respect, since he didn't mention atba', what is atba'? What is meant here is the followers. What is meant here, alayhi salam, is the followers. Okay? And the companions are anybody who saw the Prophet alayhi salam, believed in him, and died upon that. This is suhbah. What is a sahabi? Sahabi is anybody who met the Prophet alayhi salam, saw the Prophet alayhi salam, and his sight is not a necessary condition. He could have been blind, like Abdullah ibn Maktoum, and like this. But he met the Prophet ﷺ, believed in him, and died a believer in him. This is a sahabi. وَسَلَّمَ تَسْلِيمًا مَزِيدًا. Salama here is to be safe from deficiencies, and to get after the salah, after Allah Ta'ala mentions him in the greater company. Because we asked last time, what does it mean when Allah Ta'ala sends prayer upon the Prophet? We asked that. So there should be no doubt in our minds now what that means, because we have the tafsir of it. The best explanation of it is the explanation of Abu Aliyah. Abu Aliyah in the Sahih of Imam Bukhari explains it very clearly. It is that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is mentioned by Allah amongst the angels in the higher company. And the brother asked before the election, what if it says Allah and the angels sends prayer? I mean, Allah and the angels mention the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right, in this higher company. So this is what salat means. You can't say prayer on him. Right? Like to send prayers on him. It means, in fact, that he mentions him in a complimentary form, in a praiseworthy form, with the highest company, the angels. He mentions him in front of the angels. So this is what you should understand from sallallahu. Sallallahu. Na'am. So he is using this method of Ibn Taymiyyah to ask Allah Ta'ala to yuhaqqiq, to actualize for our Prophet Islam all khairat, all good. And in particular, that Allah praises him and compliments him in the higher company, and that he removes from him every deficiency or harm. And also those who follow him. This is a dua also for those who follow him. So this is that. وَمَزِيدًا is an increase. Taslim and za'idan, give him safety, more safety, give him more goodness, give him more what is right and of the best for him. This za'ida, this increase. So it's like a dua akhar bis salam ba'da salat. He make dua again for him to have salam and safety, and after that, after salat, with taslim and mazidan. And then after Allah Ta'ala praises him and mentions him in the higher company, then he also makes dua that he be safe from any type of afat or difficulties or harm, and an increase of good. Rasul, this is where we stop. The messenger. What does it mean if somebody says he's a messenger? What is a messenger? عند أهل العلم, with the people of knowledge. Listen to this, because this is the definition. من أوحي إليه بالشرع وأمر بتبليغه. He who has received a revelation and has been ordered to propagate it. He who has received a revelation and has been ordered to spread it, to tell others. This is a what? A Rasul, a messenger. Now the Prophet ﷺ became a Nabi, a prophet with what? We took this in Surah Thalatha. He became a prophet with Iqra. Iqra. What made him a prophet? Information from the heavens. Any type of information from the heavens received by a slave of Allah, a male slave of Allah, makes that person a prophet. Iqra. Iqra. وَأُرْسِلَ بِمُدَّثِّرٍ. And he became a messenger when Allah Ta'ala revealed the verse or the surah saying, "Oh, enwrapped one." "Oh, you wrapped up one." Mudaththir. فَبِقَوْلِهِ تَعَالَى. When Allah said, "Iqra بِسْمِ رَبِّكَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ." Read in the name of your Lord, or read with the name of your Lord who created you. إِلَى قَوْلِ عَلَّمَ الْإِنسَانَ مَا لَمْ يَعْلَمْ. Yani from verses 1 to 5 of Alaq. كَانَ نَبِيًّا. He became a prophet. And that's a very long story. We don't have time to go into it at this moment, but most of you know it by heart, I'm sure. And those of you who don't, all you have to do is go to the first volume of Bukhari and the chapter, How Did the Revelation Begin, and read the stories regarding this matter. Ila, as he says, وَبِقَوْلِهِ, and by the statement of Allah, يَا أَيُّهَا الْمُدَّثِّرِ. O you enwrapped one, O you one who is wrapped up. قُمْ فَأَنذِرْ. Arise and warn. Stand up and warn. Kana Rasulan. Then he became a messenger. So he was a prophet and a messenger. The seal of the last of the prophets and the seal in the last of the messengers. No prophet will come after him and no messenger will come after him. Amma ba'd. Amma ba'd, we all know this. What this, even though he brings some statement from Ibn Malik, which will make it almost like we don't know it. He brings some lugawi here, and that's na'ib ism shart wa fi'li taqdir mahma yakun min shay. It means whatever comes after of what I'm going to state. Mahma yakun min shay. Whatever is going to come after of what I'm going to say. It's the Arab's way of splitting a sentence up from what is the introduction to what the main topic they're going to talk about. So mahma yakun min shay. Whatever comes after this, hakadha. This is what I'm going to state. Right? He brings the statement, amma كما حيكون من شيء وفى لتلو تلوحا وجوبا ألفها. This is Ibn Malik's statement regarding the issue as to what amma means here. فقولهم أما بعد أما بعد التقدير مهما يكون من شيء بعد هذا فهذا. Whatever comes after what I'm about to say, after this is this. Right? It's a lugawi language sense of breaking up a sentence. We don't break up sentences like that. We don't try to put it in a proper sense in all cases. Sometimes we do. But in the Arabic language, it is like that. Naam. So we'll go past some of this because it's not going to very benefit brothers unless they're interested in the Arabic language in a great detail. Fahada. He says fahada. In Arabic, hada is when you point to something that's right in front of you. Say mahsus. Say something you can touch. Say fahada, this. But Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah here, as the Sheikh said, is pointing to something that's not there actually, right? It's a book. So he explains, he says, إِشَارَ لَابُنْ تَكُونَ إِلَى شَيْءٍ مَوْجُودٍ. If you're going to point to something, it has to be something that exists. أَنَا عِنْدَمَا أَقُولُ. When I say هَذَا, this, فَأَنَا أُشِيرُ إِلَى شَيْءٍ مَحْسُوسٍ ظَاهِرٍ. I point to something that you can feel, that you can touch, that is apparent, right? وَهُنَا مُؤَلَّفْ كَتَبَ الْخُطْبَةَ قَبْلَ الْكِتَابِ. He wrote his introduction to the book before he wrote the book. He wrote the khutbah to the book. يَبْرَزُ الْكِتَابِ لِعَالَمِ الشَّاهِدِ. Before the book came out to the world and to the people can witness it. فَكَيْفَ ذَلِكَ? How is that? Faymain's way. أقول, I say, إن علماء يقولون, they say, the scholars say, إن كان مؤلف كتب كتاب ثم كتب مقدمة وخطبة. If he wrote the book and then he wrote the introduction and the khutbah, فَمُشَارِ إِلَيْهِ مَوْجُودٌ مَحْسُوسٌ. And what he's pointing to is exist and can in fact be felt. وَلَا فِيهِ إِشْكَالٍ. And there's no problem in that. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ كَتَبَهُ. And if he in fact did not write it, فَإِنَّ مُؤَلَّفْ يَشِيرُ مَا كَانَ فِي ذِهْنِهِ عَنْ مَعَانِي. He is pointing to what was in his mind of the meanings الَّذِي سَيَكْتُبُهَا فِي هَذَا الْكِتَابِ, that he will write in this book. وَعِنْدِي فِيهِ وَجْهٌ ثَالِثٌ. And that's what the scholars say, but he got a third point. Third point, هو أن المؤلف قال هذا اعتبار حال مخاطب. He looked at it from the standpoint of a person that he was addressing. والمخاطب لم يخاطب بذلك إلا بعد برس الكتاب والصدرة. فكان يقول هذا. So, and the person that he was talking to, he would not be addressing it to us in book form right in front of him. Us. Right? Meaning us. So therefore you can say, فَهَذَا الَّذِي بَيْنِ يَدَيْكَ, this book right in front of you, كَذَا وَكَذَا, is this and this. All that's lughawi. All that's language. Huh? أما بعد فهذا, this اعتقاد فرقة الناجية, is the belief of the فرقة الناجية. يرحمك الله. اعتقاد افتعال من أقد وهو ربط. It is a knot, something tied. We're talking about with the language now. Shidd, you put shidd on something, you tie something, you knot something. This is aqd. Aqd. Like aqd zawaj. Contract of marriage is called an aqd. Tied to that. Right? It's binding. Huh? Binding. Huh? هذا من حيث التصريف اللغوي. This is in language. أما في اصطلاح عندهم, what does it mean in terminology of the scholars? فهو حكم الذهن الجازم. It is the sure ruling of the mind that you're sure about. Huh? يقال اعتقدت ذا, يعني I believe كذا. I believe this. يعني جزمت به في قلبي. I am sure about it in my heart. فهو حكم ذهن الجازم. It is something you're sure about in your mind. فإن طابق الواقع, if it's in accordance with the reality, then فصحيح, it's okay. Right? In other words, what you believe, if it's in accordance with reality, then okay. When خالف الواقع, if it goes against the reality, ففاسد, then it's corrupt. Huh? فاعتقادنا أن الله إله واحد صحيح. So I believe that Allah Ta'ala is one. It's sahih. Correct, brother. Correct. واعتقاد النصارى أن الله ثالث ثلاثة باطل. And the belief that of the Christians that Allah is one of a Trinity is falsehood. They can believe it, Johnson. They can be sure about it. But it's batil, it's false. Whereas that which we are sure about, that Allah Ta'ala is one alone without any associate, is sahih. Because ours is in accordance with the waqi', the reality, and theirs is in accordance with that which is what? Batil, and not in accordance with the waqi', the reality. So there's mukhalif li-waqi'. It's a contradiction to the reality. Huh? So how does he bring it together in the ma'na of lughawi, the language sense? Is that إِنَّ هَذَا الَّذِي حَكَّمَ فِي قَلْبِهِ, this which is ruled upon his heart, عَلَى الشَّيْء, upon something, شَيْءٍ مَا كَأَنَّهُ أَقَرَهُ. It's like he tied it, alayhi, tied it upon his heart, until he cannot get away from it, and it cannot get away from him. It's knotted upon his heart. So it's called Aqidah. The i'tiqad, aqada, tied to it, rabata, tied to the heart. Al-firqa, or firqatu بكسر الفاء, معنى ta'ifa. The Arabic word ta'ifa is a number usually from 3 to 9. And whatever higher level you go up. الطائفة. قال الله تعالى فلولا نفرا من كل فرقة منهم طائفة. If there was not, if in fact there was, so there should be from them a group, from each group, a group. You know the ayah, to go seek knowledge and warn their people when they come back to them. Surah Tawbah, verse 122. أما الفرقة بالضمة, فرقة, not فرقة, فرقة, ضمة on the fa. Then this is مأخوذة من الافتراق, separation, splitting. So فرقة is a group. فرقة is separation. الناجية اسم فاعل من نجا. يعني the salama, those who will be safe, those who will be protected. ناجية في الدنيا, safe in this dunya. من البدع. Listen to his point. Safe in this dunya. Because a lot of brothers, when you say the firqat al-najiyah, the saved group, this doesn't come to their mind. They only think of safe from the hellfire. Akhi, there's 73 groups, all of them in hellfire except one. One, that group that is not in the hellfire, is najiyah, is safe. They think of it safe from the hellfire. That's how they say, safe from the hellfire. Listen to what the Sheikh said, and I think he'll say it more than once. Najiyah fi dunya, safe in this dunya, min al-bid'ah, from innovation. This is the words of who? Ibn Taymiyyah. Safe in this dunya from innovation. ومنها سالم منها, and protected from it. وناجي في الآخرة من النار, and protected in the hereafter from the hellfire. May Allah make us all amongst them. ووجه ذلك, and the aspect of this is the saying of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, ستفترق هذه الأمة, this ummah was split upon 73 groups, or into 73 groups. كلها في النار, all of them in hellfire, إلا واحدة, except one, إلا واحدة. قالوا, they said, من هي يا رسول الله? Who are they, O Messenger of Allah? قال من كان على مثل ما أنا عليه وأصحابي. Those who are on what I am on today and my companions. Those who are on what I am on, or what I am on and my companions are upon today. رواه الترمذي in his book Kitab al-Iman, chapter what has come regarding the splitting of this ummah. Walal-Laka'i in his monumental work Sharh al-Sunnah, and also Hakim brought it. This hadith, it's authentic, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. هذا hadith يبين, this hadith explains the meaning an-najiyah, saved. You say saved group, saved. فَمَنْ كَانَ عَلَى مِثْلَ مَا عَلَيْهِ نَبِيٌّ, he was upon what the Prophet was upon, وَأَصْحَابِهِ, and his companions. فَهُوَ نَاجٍ مِنَ الْبِدْعَةِ. Once again the Sheikh says that. First thing he says is نَاجٍ مِنَ الْبِدْعَةِ, innovation. فَمَنْ كَانَ عَلَى مِثْلَ مَا عَلَيْهِ النَّبِيُّ, the one who was upon what the Prophet was upon, وَأَصْحَابِهِ, and his companions, فَهُوَ نَاجٍ مِنَ الْبِدْعَةِ. He is safe from innovation. Pay attention to this point. Pay attention to this point. وَكُلَّهَا فِي النَّارِ إِلَّا وَاحِدًا. All of them in the hellfire except one. إِذَا هِيَ نَاجِيَةٌ مِنَ النَّارِ. It is safe, this group, from the hellfire. فَنَاجَاتْ, he said it again. فَنَاجَاتْ هُنَا مِنَ الْبِدْعَةِ فِي الدُّنْيَا. Safety from innovation in this world. وَمِنَ النَّارِ فِي الْآخِرَةِ. And in the hell, and from the hellfire in the hereafter. Safe from what? In this world. And what? Hereafter. Safe from what? Hey. Everybody's clear on it. واضح جدا. So next time you hear this hadith and this narration, this one was split into 73 groups or sects or whatever, all of them will go to hellfire except one. When they ask which one is that, O Messenger of Allah, he said the ones who are upon what I am on today and my companions, they are safe from one. They are najiyah from what? They are safe from what? Safe from bid'ah in this world and from the hellfire in the hereafter. There he is. Al-Mansura, victorious. Al-Mansura, this is another name. They're called Firqat al-Najiyah, Ta'ifat al-Mansura. The saved group and the victorious group. Al-Mansura. Al-Mansura, أبرم مؤلف بذلك موافقا للحديث. The reason Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah used this expression is because it's in agreement with a wording of the hadith. حيث قال النبي عليه السلام, when the Prophet said, لا تزال طائفة, there will always be a group, من أمتي, from my nation, على الحق, upon the truth, ظاهرين, apparent. أخرجه البخاري in Bukhari about كتاب مناقب, باب سؤال المشركين أن يريهم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم آية. The chapter that the Muslims that the Prophet ﷺ showed them a sign. Well, Muslim brought in his book, Sahih Muslim, Kitab al-Imara, book of leadership. Baba Qala sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, la tazal ta'ifa, like this. وَالظُّهُورِ al-intisar. Dominance and being apparent means victory. Al-intisar. Al-intisar. لِقَوْلِهِ ta'ala, based on the statement of Allah the Exalted. فَيَدْنَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and we supported those who believe, عَلَى عَدُوِّهِمْ, upon their enemies, فَأَصْبَحُوا ظَاهِرِينَ. So they became apparent. What does this mean? They became what? Victorious. They became victorious. Surah As-Saf, verse 14. فَأَيَدْنَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا عَلَى عُدُوِّهِمْ. We supported those who believe up over the enemies. فَأَصْبَحُوا ظَاهِرِينَ. So they became victorious. وَالَّذِي يَنْصُرَهَا هُوَ اللَّهُ. And those who support, and that which Allah Ta'ala, that which He supports, or the one who supports is Allah, and the angels and the believers. فَهِيَ مَنْصُورَةٌ, is victorious, إِلَى قِيَامِ السَّاعَةِ, to the establishment of the hour. Mansura min Rabb Azza wa Jal, supported and made victorious from a Lord Azza wa Jal. Wa min al-malaika, and from the angels. Wa min ibadihi al-mu'mineen, and from the believing servants. Hatta qad yunsaru al-insanu min al-jinn, to the degree that man can be supported or get by a jinn. Yansuruhu al-jinn wa yarhabuna uduwah. The jinn support him and protect him or make his enemies scared of him. Ila qiyam as-sa'ah, to the establishment of the hour. The hour. Ayy ila yawm al-qiyamah, to the day of resurrection. فَهِيَ مَنْصُورَةٌ, is victorious, ila qiyam as-sa'ah, to the establishment of the hour. Huna yurad al-iskal. Here's a problem. Sheikh likes to present problems and then help you solve them, as you have learned. And the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam akhbara, he said that أَنَا سَاعَتُكُمْ عَلَى شَرَارِ الْخَلْقِ, that the hour would not be established except on the worst of the creatures. And that's hadith in Muslim, Kitab al-Fitan, the book of Fitan, and chapter, the closest of the hour. That the Qiyamah, day of judgment, will not be established except upon the worst of the creatures. Upon the worst of the creatures. Shirar al-Khalq, the worst of creation. وَأَنَّهُ لَا تَقُومُ حَتَّى لَا يُقَالَ, that the hour won't be established until it's not stated, Allah, Allah. Allahu, Allah. When no one is able to say that, or no one is saying that, then the hour will be established. فَكَيْفَ نَسْمَعْ بَيْنَ هَذَا وَبَيْنَ قَوْلِهِ. So how can we gather between that statement and this statement, إِلَى قِيَامِ السَّاعَةِ, into the establishment of the hour? وَالْجَوَابِ, the answer, أَنْ يُقَالْ, to say, إِنَّ مُرَادْ, what is meant, إِلَى قُرْبِ قِيَامِ السَّاعَةِ, close to the hour. Close to the establishment of the hour. So in this hadith, when he says that they will always be like this, إِلَى قِيَامِ السَّاعَةِ, to the establishment of the hour, I mean close to the establishment of the hour. Near to the hour. You got it? Near to the hour. لِقَوْلِهِ فِي الْحَدِيثِ, statement calls another hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said, حَتَّى يَأْتِي أَمْرِ اللَّهِ, until the matter of Allah comes. Or إِلَى قِيَامِ السَّاعَةِ, or until the establishment of the hour. أَيَ سَاعَتِهِمْ, their hour. Whoever dies, your hour has begun. مَنْ مَاتْ قَدْ قَامَ قِيَامَتُهُ, he who dies, his hour has been established. Alright? وَهُوَ مَوْتِهِمْ, the death. لِنَ مَنْ مَاتْ, he who dies, فَقَدْ قَامَ قِيَامَتُهُ, his hour has been established. لكن الأول أقرب, but the first explanation he gave is closer to what is correct. فَهُمْ مَنْصُورُونَ, they will be victorious and supported إِلَى قُرْبِ قِيَامِ السَّاعَةِ, into the nearness of the establishment of the hour. And we have went to this meaning with an evidence, brothers. Instead of saying, we have arrived at this meaning with an evidence. This is ta'wil here. There's a certain meaning here that we arrived at. But we did so with a dalil. And a ta'wil, or going to a certain meaning with dalil, is jaiz. لِن كُلِّهْ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ, because all of it is from Allah. He may mention, and there's that narrations that mention that they will die in the manner in which the types of Mansura will die, and those upon the earth will die, is that Allah will send a cool breeze that will enter into their armpits and will take their souls. But this is some narrations mentioned in that regard. And before the nearness of the hour, before the hour is established, that's how they will go. al-Sunnah wal-Jama'ah. And this is important because most people don't understand this term and understand what it means. He connected them to the Sunnah. Why? Why say al-Sunnah? People of Sunnah. He connected them to the Sunnah because لأنهم متمسكون بها. They are the ones sticking to it. So they're al-Sunnah because what? They're sticking to it. They're clinging to it. They're following it. They're acting upon it. Ahl al-Sunnah. Now, I'll let you figure this one out. Wal-Jama'ah. Why were they called Wal-Jama'ah? In the Jama'ah. Anybody? Anybody? Gather in what sense? He gathered is a better term because it means unity. And this is the meaning he wants to express. Listen to it. لَإِنَّهُمْ مُجْتَمِعُونَ عَلَيْهَا. They're together upon it. They gather upon it. They have unity upon it. And this is one of the most brilliant and radiant qualities of the people of Sunnah, is that they gather upon the Sunnah. They have unity of the Sunnah. They don't break off into parties and groups. They don't split from one another and turn their backs to one another and break up. They have unity. They are unified upon it. And this is why they're called wal-Jama'ah. And the Sunnah gathers people together, and it's the bid'ah that separates the people. The Sunnah gathers people together, and it's a bid'ah that separates the people. And this is why they say the Sunnah is coupled with the word Jama'ah, gathering together, just like Sunnah is coupled with the word furqa or separation. Alright? فإن قلت كيف يكون أهل السنة والجماعة لأنهم جماعة كيف يضاف شيء إلى نفسه? He said, if you say أهل السنة والجماعة, how can you connect something to itself? Is that another problem? Say, in the asl in the kalima al-jama'ah bimana ijtima', that they gather. Then it came to mean the people who actually gather. So يكون معنى, the meaning will be أهل السنة والجماعة أي أهل السنة والاجتماع. The people of Sunnah and gathering and having unity together. The people of Sunnah and those who gather and have unity together. So based upon this, أي أهل السنة والاجتماع سموا أهل السنة. They've been called أهل السنة لأنهم متمسكون بها, because they gather with it. وسموا أهل الجماعة. They've been called the people of al-Jama'ah, or the group, لأنهم مجتمعون عليه, because they gather and have unity upon it. How are you going to be Ahl al-Sunnah wal-Jama'ah and you don't have no unity? How are you going to be Ahl al-Sunnah and you're not sticking to no Sunnah? And how are you going to be Ahl al-Sunnah wal-Jama'ah and you're not having no Jama'ah? Jama'ah is not something you recognize and understand. That you think everybody can do their own thing and everybody can go their own way. That there's nothing that binds you to another brother who has the same belief you have and practices the same deen you have, seeking the same reward you're seeking. This is something that is incredible how people can miss this factor when it's right in the title of the name that they claim to hold on to and ascribe themselves to. وَلِهَذَا, because of this, لَمْ تَفْتَرِكْ هَذِهِ فِرْقَةً. They didn't separate this one group. Ahl al-Sunnah, they didn't separate. كَمَا افْتَرَكَ أَهْلِ الْبِدْعَةِ. Like the people of innovation separated. نَجْرَ أَهْلِ الْبِدْعَةِ. You find the people of bid'ah, كَالْجَحْمِيَّةِ, like the Jahmiyyah, مُتَفَرِّقِينَ, separated amongst themselves. وَالْمُعْتَزِلَةِ, the Mu'tazila after Jazal, مُتَفَرِّقِينَ, separated amongst themselves. وَالْرَوَافِدِ, the Shia, مُتَفَرِّقِينَ, separated amongst themselves. وَغَيْرِهِ مِنْ أَهْلِ التَّعْتِيلِ, those who deny the names and qualities of Allah, مُتَفَرِّقِينَ, separated amongst themselves. لكن هذه الفرقة, this group, أهل السنة والجماعة, أهل الأثر, those of السلفية, مجتمعة على الحق. They gather and they unify upon the truth. وإن كان كيحصل بينهم خلاف, even if they have some differences between them, some minor differences, لكنه خلاف لا يضر. It's a difference that don't harm nobody. Don't harm their brotherhood, don't harm anything whatsoever. وهو خلاف لا يدلل أحدهم آخر به. And it's a khilaf that one doesn't cause one to say, you're astray, man. You off of it. Doesn't cause you to say that this brother's astray because he differs on this issue. أي صدورهم تتسع. Their hearts are open for this type of difference. They can carry it. They can handle it. They can deal with it. وإلا فقد اختلف في أشياء. The people of Ahl al-Sunnah have differed about some things. مما يتعلق بالعقيدة, which connect to عقيدة. مثل, did the Prophet ﷺ, like example, did the Prophet ﷺ see his Lord with his own eyes or not? They differ. Some Sahaba say yeah, some Sahaba say no. Is the punishment of the grave upon the body and the soul, or just upon the soul? They differ. Some say it's on the soul, some say it's on the body and the soul. مثل بعض الأمور يختلفون في other matters that they disagree upon لكنها, but they are matters ومسائل and issues يعني that are called فرعية, minor, not from the usul, the principles, وليس من الأصول, not from the principles. ثم هم مع ذلك, and even though with that difference, إذا اختلفوا, if they differ, they do not declare each other astray. بخلاف أهل البدع, in opposition to the people of innovation. إذن, therefore, فهم مجتمعون على السنة. Get this to your head, يا أهل السنة. فهم مجتمعون على السنة. They are gathered together and unified upon the sunnah. They are gathered together and unified upon the sunnah. فهم أهل السنة والجماعة. Stickers of the people who stick to the sunnah and people who gather and unify upon it. وَلَّمَ مِنْ كَلَامُ مُعَلَّفْ رحمه الله. We learn from the words of the author رحمه الله, Ibn Taymiyyah, لا يدخل فيه من خالف في طريقته, that a person can be not considered from Ahl Sunnah if they differ in the methodology of Ahl Sunnah. They cannot be considered from Ahl Sunnah if they differ with their methodology, with their way. فأشاعرة, Ash'aris, مثلا, example, والماتريدية, for example, لا يدون من أهل السنة. They cannot be considered from أهل السنة والجماعة, particularly في هذا الباب, in the area of names and qualities of Allah. لأنهم مخالفون, because they differ لما كان عليه نبي عليه السلام وصالح. They differ as to what the Prophet عليه السلام and the companions were upon. إجراء صفات الله سبحانه وتعالى على حقيقتها, to take the names and qualities of Allah and carry upon their reality, knowing that Allah has nothing or no one similar to Him, but affirming that which Allah has affirmed from Himself, the names and qualities. And because of this, those are mistaken who say, well, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah is three groups, basically. You hear this from some highly so-called intellectual people who get into intellectualizing, trying to make everybody feel nice and comfortable. You'll hear them say, well, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, three groups. And they'll say it like this. There's Salafiyun, they're Ahl Sunnah. There's Ash'aris, they're Ahl Sunnah. And they're Maturidun, and they're Ahl Sunnah. Sheikh says, فَهَذَا خَطَأ. This is a mistake. نقول كيف يكون جميع أهل السنة وهم مختلفون? How can all of them be أهل السنة and they differ with one another? فماذا بعد الحق إلى الضلال? Pay attention to that. There's nothing after the truth except for going astray. There's nothing after the truth except for going astray. One thing is the truth, and anything else is what? Batil, stray and false. وكيف يكون أهل السنة وكل واحد يرد على الآخر? How can we consider أهل السنة each one of them responding against and refuting the other? هذا لا يمكن, not possible, إلا إذا أمكن الجمع بين ضدين, unless you can gather between two opposites. فنعم, then therefore that's the truth. If you can gather between two opposites, something moving and at the same time it's still, something black and at the same time it's white, something darkness and at the same time it's light. Gather between two things that are opposites don't happen, right? But now, it don't happen. You cannot gather between them. فَمَنْ هُوَ الْأَشْعَرِيَّةِ? What is Ash'ariyah? فَنَعْمُ وَإِلَّا فَلَا شَكَّ أَحَدٌ وَحْدَهُ هُوَ صَاحِبُ السُّنَّةِ. There's no doubt that only one of these people, or one of these groups are the person upon the sunnah. فَمَنْ هُوَ? Who are they? Al-Ash'ariyah? أَمَا Maturidiyah? أَمَا Salafiyah? That's the question. Al-Ash'ariyah? Al-Maturidiyah? أَمَا Salafiyah? Which one of them? نقول من وافق السنة. We say whoever is in agreement with the sunnah, فهو صاحب sunnah. He's companion of the sunnah. ومن خالف السنة. Whoever is in opposition to the sunnah, فليس صاحب sunnah. He's not a companion of the sunnah. فنحن نقول, we say, listen to this. For anyone who doubted Ibn Taymiyyah's statement regarding Salafiyah, for anyone who might have had some tashwish, some confusion in their mind regarding this great sheikh, this Shaykh al-Islam, this faqih, this mujtahid, listen to what he says. نقول, نحن نقول, we say, السلف هم أهل السنة والجماعة. The Salaf are أهل السنة والجماعة. ولا يصدق الوصف على غيرهم أبدا. It is not permissible to use this description for anyone else, never. وكلمات تعتبر معانيها, and words are to be considered according to their meanings. لننظر كيف نسمي من خالف السنة أهل السنة. So how can we call someone who is in opposition to Sunnah that he's on the Sunnah? لا يمكن, not possible. وكيف يمكن أن نكون إن ثلاثة طوائف مختلفة? How can we say about three groups that differ? إنهم مجتمعون, that they're together. فأين اجتماع? Where are they together? فأهل السنة والجماعة, therefore أهل السنة والجماعة هم السلف معتقدا. They are those who believe as the Salaf believe. حتى المتأخر إلى يوم القيامة, until the end of, until their resurrection. إذا كان طريقة النبي, if he's on the way of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وأصحابه, and his companions, what did he say? فإنه سلفي. ابن تيمية. إنه سلفي. عرفت? He is Salafi. From the words of Ibn Taymiyyah, from the mouth of Ibn Taymiyyah, to anyone who had anything else to say, let's just shut them up. إنه سلفي. وهو, next time we pick up, هو إيمان بالله, and it is to believe in Allah. Then we go into the asl of the Aqidah, and the four manners or aspects that we must have to believe in Allah Ta'ala properly. This is Allah Ta'ala spares us. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد. هل في سؤال? If there are any questions, فإنه السلفي. ما فيش. ما عندكم شيء جيد. ايش كتاب عندك؟ This book you got. ما شاء الله. لمن؟ ما شاء الله. وأنت كذلك؟ ما شاء الله. جيد. نعم عندك شيء. عليك السلام. عليك السلام. يعني كلام لا نجعل كلام الشيخ ضده وبعده ضد. يعني هل ابن تيمية شخص واحد أو اثنين؟ هذا السؤال. أنا قرأت لك من كتابه شرح عقيدة واسطية، وهذا ألفاظه وكلماته مفرق من عشرة، وهو موجود على عشرة. إذن لا بد أن تفهم هذا بمعنى الآخر، وأنه الرجل يقول يعني السلفي هو الذي هو أهل السنة والجماعة. جيد؟ حياك الله. نعم. What's in it? What you got? I don't describe them. I don't describe them. I don't describe them. I know, I'm saying, I just pick it from the They're not from Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. They're not from Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. You can say Jama'ah lugatan in a language sense, a group, but they're not from Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Hey, that's beautiful. تفضل. Yeah, don't get caught on that. That was just language, Annie. This book here. Other words, when it was originally put out, you say if you're starting to write a book, right? You're writing the book out, you know. You haven't finished the book. Then you got the i'tiqad, this is the belief of the firqa al-Najih. Well, you haven't finished the book. In Arabic, you usually point to something that's there. And he hadn't finished it yet. So how did he answer it? He answered in three ways. Amongst the ways he answered is that the Sheikh was talking about what was in his head. What I'm about to put down here, what I'm about to lay out, is our i'tiqad firqa al-Najih. Right? Or he was thinking about the one who's going to get the book after he's done. هذا بين يديك, what's right in front of you, what you got right in front of you, is i'tiqad firqa al-Najih. Right? You just explain the term هذا, this is. Ism ishara, you point to something. Na'am. Bas, khalasna. Alanta khalasna. تفضل. Personal knowledge makes ta'adil of a person. This is outside the subject. Yeah, it's outside the subject a little bit for real. Go ahead. He does it upon something which he knows. If somebody who knows a person more intimate than the sheikh, because the sheikh might know him in a general sense, he says, this is a good brother. Someone who travels with them, sleeps with them, eats with them, may know him more intimately and may have what is called ziyadat al-ilm, an increase of knowledge regarding this person. And they'll say, yeah, sheikh, but you don't know that he gets up in the middle of the night and he barks at the moon. You know, or you don't know this, or you don't know that. So then this increase in knowledge gives that person the ability, yes, to do jar. Jar mufassal, a detailed incrimination, is to be taken in general over a general ta'adid. A general ta'adid. Same thing if you wanted somebody, for instance, to marry your daughter. You know, and I know how you feel about your daughters. And someone comes and you ask about a particular brother, and they say, man, this is a good brother. He prays in the masjid, he does this and that. You meet somebody else and they say, wait a minute, hold up. This brother does this, this brother does that. He don't, you know, he steals from people, he does this, he does that. He hangs out in the street, he does this, he sells drugs, he this, he that, nothing. Detailed knowledge. And each of the individuals are truthful. Which one you going to take? You're not sure? Hakaza. This is how it is. Because what is the whole reason of Jahwa Ta'did? The whole purpose behind it. A lot of times we miss this area of knowledge, and that is al-maqasid, the intent and purposes behind them. Imam Shatibi, rahimahullah, has a great level of knowledge and awareness and presentation of this issue. There's intent and wisdom behind matters in the legislation. Jahwa Ta'did, so we can know who to accept from and who not to accept from. You know, who to trust and who not to trust, who to take from, who not to take from. You know, who to marry our daughters to, who not to marry our daughters to, who to take for and put in a position of trusteeship or whatever and to trust for a job and who not to do so. This is what it's for. It's to protect the Muslims from harm and increase the benefits. So if this is the case, then it makes no sense if every time someone's going to say something good about a person, even though it might be general, and if someone else is going to have all this detail on a person of negativity and what's incorrect, their words are going to be set aside because the person who said he was a good person is a sheikh. You know, the sheikh must know the detail of the situation. He must be informed about the detail. Right? Na'am. You see some signs of innovation in this person because this person is breaking the usl, the of sticking together. Yeah. Of course, he can warn against him from the standpoint of that which he is in opposition to the Sunnah in regards. Wa yakum, yakum Allah. You know, Ibn Baz made a good point when he was asked about, he was called about Muhammad ibn Hadi al-Madkhali doing some responses early on. I don't know, can you hear? Doing some responses early in the beginning, upon Safar Hawali. And they actually taped Ibn Baz's voice when he was asked. He said, can he respond against Safar Hawali? Or is this, why, go to him and talk to him and do this? Why can't you respond in front of everybody on tapes and like this? He said if his mistake was open, he'd respond to him openly. And he further said that this is the way to Salaf. That not only against Ahl al-Bid'ah and those people, but one another between them. Ibn Hajar will respond to this one will respond to Nawawi, this one will respond to that one. If a mistake is made, it can be responded to. The important thing, he said, is to extinguish and get rid of the mistake. It's to extinguish and get rid of the mistake. So this was their way, not just with Ahl al-Bid'ah. Ahl al-Bid'ah, of course, they were severe with, they were harsh with, and this type of thing. But in general, if a brother, for instance, came in here today and saying that, you say in your ruku, brother, you know, Subhana Rabbil Thani, you know, A'udhu Billah, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Just made up some type of dua. It would be for every one of us in this room, right, to say to him, Akhi, you don't say that in ruku. This is not proper to say in ruku. And this, from our standpoint, is a rad. It's a response. And from his standpoint, he's somebody who has been responded to. And what is upon him? To accept the nasiha and just stop doing that. So this is how, nasiha, and ordering what is good and forbidding what is bad, this is all part of the deen of Allah. And if you read the books of fiqh, if you read the books of various subjects and sciences of Islam, you find they always do this. Ibn Hajar said this, and this is wahm. It's a mistake from him. He should have said this. You know? Al-Albani would do that, and people do with Al-Albani right now. Al-Albani said this, he's thinking this was here, and this was wahm. Mistake. It's really here, on this page. So if a brother is calling to something which is in opposition to Sunnah, he's saying, for instance, leave Masjid Rahmah. Go to somewhere else. Don't be up there with them guys. And of course he should be warned against, because he's calling to furqa, separation, and calling to the Muslims to go away from that which is the asl, which is to gather upon the haqq. Of course he should be warned against. What is he calling to? He's calling to separation. And we don't take it as seriously as we should take it, because we have never understood, many of us, the fruits and the benefits of unity, and how precious unity is. Unity is nafis. Unity is very, very expensive. But we don't understand that yet, or very few of us do. And so every little mishap, oh, I'm going my way, and let me get my batting ball and go play with somebody else. And this type of mentality, this type of childish, infantile mentality, which rather than maintain your unity with your brother, and stay and deal with the harms that might come your way. He might say a loose word. He might treat you a little rough, and so on and so forth, but you hang in there because you understand the importance of the unity, and you're al-Sunnah al-Jama'ah, those who stick to the Sunnah and gather and have unity upon it. When they understand this asl, when this asl is understood, then, we'll see a lot of improvement. Right now, many of our Salafi brothers are going through this thing of what the Prophet ﷺ said. Shaitan has given up any hope of ever being worshipped in the Arabian Peninsula, but he seeks to make confusion and differences between you. Tahrish bainakum. This is what the game is now. Create confusion and differences. Make them differ one another. Make them fall out. Make it where they can't have no unity. Make them fight one another. Make them hate one another. Make them turn back on one another. This is going against a great asl, which is unity, which is our strength. After Allah Ta'ala, this is our strength, and we're going to lose it like this. It's almost like the tabaqa khamis, they used to call it in the Arabic language. Fifth column, they call it, in military language even, where you got a group of guys who infiltrate, and their whole thing is to mess up everything from the inside out. Fifth column. And it's ridiculous. Fights splitting out of everywhere, just everybody just going majnoon. This guy, falling out with this one, that one falling out that one, this masjid falling there. This one, this imam and this shura and this imam. Come on, man. What type of madness is this? So, the old rule, divide and conquer, seems to still be amongst us, and most of us haven't learned the lesson of how to protect ourselves from it. Hey, one more, akhi, we have to make salah. نعم. If they break away from the masjid of the Salafis, we have a fatwa on that. Fatwa Muhammad Basmul is very clear for everybody living in the United States of America and the countries of the kuffar, that they should not break up into various masajid, but that they should stick to one main masjid, jami', and that if they have to have another masjid due to distance and whatever, that they pray secondary prayers or other prayers there, but they make sure that the most congregational prayers and Jummah and Ayat and all that are held at the masjid. Because he says that these splitting into masjids, what they normally do is turn to hizbis, and it leads to hizbiyah. And it takes the strength away from them. It takes the strength away from them. Ala kulli halin, yes, it's permissible in this case to warn against that masjid and to inform them that they have went against the asl of sticking together. خير, we close down, inshallah. وإياكم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك. السلام عليكم.